going to go over GLP-1s in depth today because there's so many people talking about GLP-1s out there. GLP-1s are those weight loss injections that you're taking, and I want you guys to have some real answers as to what could be going on and why this is so important for you. So let me get something fixed here. Right, there we go. There we are. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so what we're talking about is things like Ozempic, okay, and Manjaro and those things. I'm not going to let's just go over it. So I want you to think about this. If you wake up every morning and you're determined to make a change, you tell yourself, this time, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to move better. I'm going to do more exercise. I'm going to, just completely change my diet. I'm going to do all of that. I'm going to get my health and my life under control. But by mid-afternoon, you're already like, oh, this is too hard. I feel like it's all been stacked against me and I just can't do this. Well, there's some truth to that. So just hang out with me. We're going to talk about it in just a few minutes. But the cravings are hitting you like a freight train. Your energy is crashing. Your stomach growls. And no matter how much willpower you summon or try to summon, that pull towards food, that pull towards the need to eat, that pull towards carbs and sugars is overwhelming. And you just feel like giving up. So I get it. I get why so many people are going for these injections because it's an easy solution, right? Like I don't have to go through all those struggles, but there are some struggles you'll have to go through. So let's talk about those. So maybe you've tried dieting. Maybe you've been told by your doctor that medications could help. And then you hear about these new weight loss injections. And again, I'm not going to name them. I shouldn't have in the first place. The ones everyone's talking about. They promise appetite control. They promise weight loss. They promise better blood sugar levels. And it sounds like an amazing answer. But is it really an amazing answer? You guys, my phone is apparently almost dead. Of course it is. All right. So let's fix this all now that I mucked it up. There we go. Okay, so let's dive in. So what are GLP-1s and why is this so important? Why am I have a hair stuck to my face somewhere. Sorry, you guys. It's driving me crazy. There it is. Okay, so what are these drugs? Why are they so popular and how are they doing all this magic in your body? Let's talk about it. So these medications are a part of a group called GLP-1 receptor agonists. So I'm going to get a little sciencey, but I promise I'm going to make it easy for everybody to understand in a second too. So those GLP-1 receptor agonists, what they're doing is in your pancreas, you have receptors, you have places where you produce insulin, you have receptors for this GLP-1, which is helping you increase insulin to get blood sugars down. So they mimic a hormone that your body already produces. Your body can produce this. We're just not given the right nutrition for us to be able to do it. So your body's supposed to be able to produce glucagon like peptide 1, and that hormone, that peptide hormone, normally is increased when you eat, especially when you consume carbohydrates or fats. And its job is to help control blood sugar, slow digestion, and signal fullness to your brain. That's how they're working, right? That's why everybody's feeling so full. I don't want to eat, but there's more to it than that. So hang out. So, but here's where things go wrong for many, many people struggling with insulin resistance, diabetes, and stubborn weight gain. Your natural GLP-1 levels don't respond in the same way that these injections do. They don't respond in the way they should because we're so inundated with the foods that are imperfect and not giving us the nutrient and spiking our glucose way too much. So that's why these drugs force your body into a state where food sits in your stomach, your insulin responses changes, and you feel less hungry. But let's think about that for just a second. If we're forcing your body, and if you've heard me talk before, one of the things we don't want to do is force our body to produce more of what it's already resistant to. That's kind of where these drugs lay, right? They're making you produce more insulin to be able to better take control of the sugars and get them out of your bloodstream. but that has a whole bag of nuts and bolts that are not great that go along with it, okay? So, you're not hungry in part because it's freezing up your gut. It's freezing up your intestines. It's making them not move so that you feel more full. Now, fiber does this a little bit, but these injections do it to the point that it's causing people to go to the hospital because it's a dangerous thing. You guys, before I finish off, not finished off, I'm just getting started. There are 140,000 different lawsuits being filed because of those medications and the problems that they're causing in people's health that nobody's talking about. It's causing problems with your pancreas. If your pancreas is putting out way too much insulin, if it's being forced to be blocked open, if it's being told, and one of the other actions is these GLP-1 drugs tell your glucagon not to come out. Glucagon is really where we start to get fat storing in a natural state. Another problem with them is that once you downregulate your metabolism using these, your metabolism is now damaged, and it only takes a few years before you start to go right back to eating the same old way. And you're in some people a few months and they're gaining the weight back, and now they're finding it harder to maintain because they've downregulated your metabolism. Talked about this last week. 4 weeks of super calorie restriction can damage your metabolism and reset it to a lower point than it was before, and it can take 6 months or longer to get that back. Is that what you really want to do? I I don't. Like, yeah, you can get some really quick weight loss. One of the other problems is that you end up losing up to, depending on the medication, up to 40% of that weight loss could be from muscle. So say you lose 100 pounds, you wanting to lose fat, but up to 40 pounds of it could have been lean muscle tissue. And that's not good because when you put that weight back on, are you gaining back the 40% muscle? No, you're not. You're gaining back fat. And that's a problem for most of us. I'm going to drop this down for a second. Just a second, get that out of the way. Okay, so I want you to understand a little bit about GLP-1 drugs because it gets confusing and it feels like an easy reach, an easy solution. But your health is worth so much more than quick weight loss at the cost of all of these other systems that you really need in your body to be functioning day to day for long-term health. Okay. So your body's complex. The medications don't just suppress appetite, they alter digestion, they slow the movement of food through your system, and they shift how your metabolism functions. That's pretty big changes that you might not want to have happen. Now, if it's because if think about it, if you're talking about your metabolism, how your body burns fat and fuel, if you're up regulating that so it's more efficient, that would be great. But these things are not doing that. They're down regulating how your body is able to handle the calories that you put in it later on. Now you're stuck in a it's like having the brakes on your car all the time, just a little bit. Instead of being able to rev your engine and really take off, the brakes are on just a little bit all the time. So now your metabolism is fighting to get done what it's supposed to do after you've taken these long term or even short term. It can damage your metabolism. And that, you guys, is not a great way to go. So many people just end up right back on them, and then they end up with these other things. 140,000 lawsuits against them that have been being combined into a couple of big lawsuits, and a lot of them are the gastroparesis and the pancreatic issues. Pancreas is where both insulin and GLP-1 are produced. So if that goes, you have a problem. Okay, not only if the pancreas goes, it's not just that you can't produce insulin, you can't produce the other hormones, and especially things like glucagon that you need for fat burning for your body to access other forms of fuel. So it's a danger zone to me. It's a danger zone. It's one I don't want to step into. It's one I would wish that other people would hear me and not want to step into as well, because it can really damage your body. So one of the reasons the drugs last so long in your body, one of the reasons they have to be injected, when you produce GLP-1 naturally, when your body produces it, the liver will break it down and it doesn't stay active in your body for a long time. It's meant when you eat, it goes up, it helps you with satiety, it helps you, get that insulin out so that it can deliver, but it's not meant to be on all the time. So you guys think about if you think about these medications, think about your house. Think about if you walked and you had everything on dimmer switches, and right now you're able to go in and you're able to move the lights on as you need them to the level you need them. But then all of a sudden, you decide, nope, I need light on everywhere, and you turn the lights on all the way in every room of the house, and they just never go off again. At first, it may seem okay because you can see everything and it's like great, you're moving through the house, nothing big, but eventually you're going to get tired of those lights being on all the time, and you start to not be able to sleep. You start to have other issues. Similar things are going on in your body when you have consistent levels of GLP-1. It's meant to be there when you eat and when you need it. It's not meant to be there all the time. Now you have to inject it because we're talking about GLP-1 drugs. So think about the semaglutides, the tirzepatide is the new one, Mounjaro, Ozempic, those type of things is what we're talking about. And for weight loss. And I'm going to give you guys, if you hang out with me, I'm going to give you a more natural way to increase your GLP-1 without spiking your blood sugars and get all of this under control much better. Hey, Jason, we're talking about your favorite thing. Well, the system, but we're talking about GLP-1 drugs today. So we have that going on. So those injections are given because they cannot pass through the liver or they'll break down. Okay. And then it's just not going to work. Why would it be that something that your body produces naturally in an ebb and flow state, we would ever think good is to inject and keep it at a constant state all the time? It's going to start to break systems down, and they're starting to see that. They're starting to see that through all these lawsuits and whatnot that are happening. And it doesn't have to be this way, you guys. It just does not have to be. We have a more simple solution for that. Give me a minute. We're going to get to that. Okay. And if you just need to know in the meantime, go to my profile. There's a link there. It'll tell you what it is. And you can decide what you want to do. And also, this live will be on YouTube on my live stream at Brilliant Health with Misha. Afterward, I'm going to show you that. My lights are just, yeah, it is kind of fire. It's showing up all the red in my hair today. Jason, thanks. Okay. So the reason they last in your body so long is because they're designed to bind to albumin, a protein that's in your blood, which slows down how fast they get broken down and removed. And that keeps the drug working for days or even weeks at a time. Because of this, your natural digestive system is disrupted. Okay. Sometimes you have people on these things have talked about severe nausea. They've talked about burps. They've talked about vomiting and bloating and even blockages in their stomachs. We've talked about that just a minute ago. And those blockages can require medical intervention because they are life-threatening. Gastroparesis, guts froze up. Can't do anything. You're eating, it's not moving through, it's stuck there. So why do they get these big putrid burps? Because you got rotting food, masses of food sitting in your gut that just can't pass through. So all of that's coming back up, rotten food. I talk about inflammation a lot. Does that make sense? That you want to have this food rotting in your gut that's causing more inflammation and causing more gut microbiome disturbance and all of that? I wouldn't think so. Metformin is the safest of them all, but I still am not. I did metformin. I would not do the others. My doctor said I had to do something. She gave me metformin. I got super sick, could not tolerate it. My whole body hurt. I was just in pain all the time. And then I found a protocol that's just 3 drinks that I have in a day and a little lifestyle change. And my diabetes is gone. I lost 55 pounds. My energy is better. My mental clarity is better. My joints aren't failing. So metformin couldn't do all of that for me. Nourishing my body did. So I'm a proponent of taking care of your body from the inside out. Okay. So remember I said there's an insulin effect. The drugs tell your pancreas to pump out more insulin while holding back glucagon. Let's talk about that. Insulin is anabolic. It wants things to grow. So it's going to take the energy from the food you eat and it's going to take it out to all the other cells of the body, and it's going to try and help them grow. But in a body that's resistant, that's not happening in the right cells at the right time, and inflammation is building up. And now you're piling more fuel on the fire by giving more insulin overall. You may get short-term results, but what you're doing to your body in the long term is a lot of damage. Okay, so glucagon is the other side of the metabolic story. So insulin, anabolic, glucagon catabolic. Insulin wants things to grow, glucagon wants things to eat things up. Okay, insulin is getting blood sugar down, glucagon is actually pushing blood sugar up. So think about it. When you don't have food in your system, you want glucagon there so that it can go out to the fat cells and break them down and get blood sugar up so that you have that energy wherever it needs to bring it from. Those drugs are increasing insulin and decreasing glucagon, and that starts to damage over time. Now you come off of the drugs, you have a normal day eating, and your insulin isn't as receptive because it's been overworked, and your glucagon is less likely to turn on because it's been told no for so long it just doesn't know how anymore. Do you see the problem with metabolism? You should have insulin out sometimes of the day. It should go down and should have glucagon out sometimes of the day. We're going to talk about how snacking on our food is causing some of these problems too. Because it's not that you're deficient in a medication. It's not that you got heavy because you needed a medication. You got heavy because our food system is so broken and so messed up, so jacked up, that we are paying the cost for it. And as a result, they're selling you more food and then telling you to go buy these things that are going to help you lose the weight, when what they should address is the nutrients in the food, the fact that we're not getting fiber, the fact that we're not getting nutrients, the fact that we're eating way too often. They don't want to address that because that means their bottom line goes down when you're not buying more food. Okay? So understand that. So when you stop the drugs, people experience things like weight gain, blood sugar swings, and a return to cravings, sometimes stronger than before. I remember watching a documentary on a woman who was talking about how she had the gastroparesis. She had that bolus of food, that rotting food in her gut, and it ended up sending her to the hospital. She had lost a ton of weight, but now she has those nasty burps and she just feels sick and nauseous all the time. And then she ends up in the hospital and she was like, I am never doing those things again. Within a few months, she started gaining the weight back. Why? Because nobody ever talked about the root cause. They just dealt with, oh, let's put a Band-Aid fix on, let's give her something and tell her, be on your way, you're going to lose the weight, you're going to feel great. But they didn't tell her all of these other things that were going to happen. And she got sick and she kind of covertly went back on the drug because she had told everybody she was never going to do it again. And almost immediately she started noticing the same symptoms and she started noticing the slowed gastric emptying. Your intestinal system just does not let you empty. And she realized she almost ended up in the hospital again. And she was like, that's it. I can never do these again. That's just one story, right? There are many, many others. Yeah, you're going to hear some success stories. Check back with those people in 5 to 10 years and see what happens. The problem is there's not been a lot of studies done on those. So now I want to give you an analogy so it can make sense because there's a lot of science in that, right? So I want you to imagine that your digestive system is like a busy highway during rush hour. Your food is supposed to move through like cars on a well-timed system, green lights, steady flow, everything moving efficiently, right? What if the traffic controller suddenly slowed everything down? Red lights everywhere. Instead of cars moving smoothly, they now pile up at the ramp, at the on ramp, and some cars get stuck. They're in bumper to bumper traffic, and others can't move forward at all. And that's what these medications are doing to your stomach. They slow down digestion so much that food sits there much longer than normal. And that's why people on these drugs often feel bloated and full for hours and even nauseous because their traffic system is now crawling instead of flowing. Make sense? You guys get that? So now the part that nobody's telling you is when you eventually take that stop sign away, when you turn the green lights back on, the traffic surges back to full force, and that's why many people regain their weight. They haven't understood what caused the problem in the first place. They didn't take the route that led to the root cause, and now they're right back where they started after all of that, after all the damage it's done, after all the nauseous and burping and all the stuff. They lost some weight, they come off the drug because you have to, and then you start putting the weight back on. Okay. And your body has to take time to get back to its natural rhythm. And that could take 6 months. It could take a couple of years. So, all right. So what can you do instead? right? Oh, you know what? I wanted to show you guys this. We're gonna I wanted to show you this because one of the things I want to address is um in these things how damaging all this can be. Let's move this up. All right. Um, okay, so when we look at these drugs, there's a whole lot of negative side effects. We just spent a little bit of time talking about some of them. This information on both of these things that I'm going to show you, both of them come directly from the prescriber's digital reference. They come directly from a third-party source that's just reporting on what's going on. This list is from one of the drugs and how much of these negative reactions can happen. I know maybe it's hard to see, so let's switch this up a little bit so you guys can see this a little better. So these are some of the negative reactions that can happen with those medications. Okay, that's a lot. The solution I'm going to show you is much simpler. So instead of all of that, and I'm going to talk about these in a second, I'm going to talk to you about a pre-meal drink and a tea. And this is from that same reference. This is from the same reference that your physicians go to, your pharmacists go to, all of that. The only safety and warnings for the pre-meal drink are that you may have some abdominal discomfort, constipation, flatulence, because you're not used to getting in high amounts of fiber. They're all normal effects, nothing to worry about, and they go away within a few weeks for most people. The tea has some caffeine in it, so caffeine sensitive individuals should start out slowly. Those are the safety and warnings for this. And let's go back and take a look and see, this is the safety warnings or the adverse reactions for the other thing. I don't know about you guys, but a little bit of gas and bloating because my system isn't healthy yet. Knowing that that is my system getting healthy, that's weakness leaving the body. I would rather have that than all of this. It's important for you guys to understand because they don't tell you all of these things when you start those medications. So let's get back to the real solution that can actually help you. All right. So before I do that, I want you guys to understand that 93% of us have an insulin problem. The system and the GLP-1 drugs, remember, they're addressing insulin is what they're doing. So 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy, cardiometabolically unhealthy, meaning we have an insulin resistance problem at the root of it. 93% of people in the US, over 50% of people worldwide have an insulin resistance problem, and that's huge. There's something going on more than just, oh, we need to give more medications, you guys. So 93% of us, it can do things like weight gain. It can cause you memory function. It can cost you heart function. It can cost you liver and kidney function. So it's much, much more than just weight. It's more than your weight. So I want you guys to understand that. Now, these are some of the things that insulin resistance, some of the symptoms of insulin resistance. Take a look at that list. If you're having brain fog, if you're having anxiety and depression, belly fat, diabetes, PCOS in women, erectile dysfunction in men, okay, frequent urination and frequent thirst. You're constantly thirsty and you're constantly peeing, but you're not peeing a lot. You just got to go pee all the time. You have constant hunger that you can't seem to curb. You can't lose weight. And you have this craving for sugars and salts that you can't explain. All of these are symptoms of insulin resistance, and they're not being talked about enough. If you guys understood that majority of what your issue is today, you would get control of it. Now, snacking is an issue, and this is why. Snacking is constantly bumping your insulin levels up. Okay. Let's get that down. Okay, so let's talk about a little timeline, and then we're going to talk about how this all fits in. Why do people suggest intermittent fasting? Because it works. Okay. When you eat, every time you eat, it takes a couple hours and your blood sugar spikes. Now, if it's high glycemic foods, that blood sugar spike could happen more immediately. And now you have this roller coaster of energy highs and lows. But generally, it takes about 2 hours for your blood sugar to spike up after you've eaten. It takes about 4 hours for that blood sugar to come back down so that you're starting to feel normal again. But now you have this I need energy at 4 hours. But guess what? We've trained our insulin to be so high that insulin is apparent in our bloodstream for about 8 hours after our last bite of food. Insulin has to come down so that the other part, glucagon, where you can burn fat, comes out. Insulin is holding on to things. No fat burning going on when you have too much insulin. Um, Glucagon is wanting to eat things up. So it's taking the dead and dying cells and helping them get out, and it's helping you get rid of fat. But you have to get insulin down for glucagon to come out enough to do its job. And glucagon doesn't come out for about 10 hours after your last bite of food. Now, when that happens at about hour 12, you have things like a growth hormone coming out. You have ketones coming out. So now your body's in repair mode. Now your body's fixing itself. Now your body's starting to get healthier. But that's at hour 12, those things are just coming out. It takes to hour 14 for them to be really active. So now at hour 14, you can actually start to see fat burning, and you can actually start to see the cellular exchange. Your bones are not just breaking down, they're building back up. All your other cells are starting to get rid of oxidation and inflammation, and you're starting to get healthier from the inside out. That's why intermittent fasting. Now you can still spike your GLP-1 in a fasted state, and I'm going to show you how. Without eating, without breaking that fast, without causing a spike in insulin, we're going to talk about how you can get that GLP-1 up without injecting, but your body doing it naturally so that you can actually heal and start to get better and start to lose weight. So it's a tea in the morning, a tea in the afternoon, and a pre-meal drink before you eat. But let's go over why that happens. So if you feel like you've tried everything, okay, I want you to know this. Your body isn't broken. It's just responding to the signals that it's been given over time. And our food is literally us, okay? It's just taking away life from us. So it's not just responding to the signals, it's it is just it's just responding to the signals from our food. Sorry, you guys, I'm having messages come in and it's distracting me. Messages that have nothing to do with the live. So instead of forcing it to an artificial state with medications that have risks, what if you could naturally support your body's ability to regulate sugar, control hunger, and restore metabolic health without causing all that damage? Would that be amazing for anyone else? Because it's been amazing for me. I've lost 55 pounds in menopause. I've gotten my health back. My hypertension is gone. My diabetes is gone. My joints are no longer failing. My teeth and gums aren't bleeding. My hair is growing back in. I'm 61 and I have some grays, but this is my natural hair color. And it's all because I took care of the inside and let the weight loss be a side effect of getting healthy. Okay. You guys need to understand that. Please, I'm going to beg you to understand that your weight loss comes as a side effect of you just getting healthier. Weight gain is, in my opinion, just a symptom of how unhealthy we've gotten. Okay. So just know that the key isn't fighting your body. It's not forcing your body to do things. It's working with your body. That's the key to real health. Okay. So, whew, another message coming in. Sorry, you guys. All right. So now that you understand a little bit about GLP-1, I hope you do. Those medications are forcing your bodies into changes. Let's talk about this different approach that works with your body's natural system instead of overriding them. So you don't need to inject yourself. You don't need to do those synthetic hormones that are causing, receptors to be blocked open and stuff to be too high all the time and damaging your metabolism. You don't need to do any of that. Your body already knows how to do this. It just needs the right tools and the right support. And that's exactly what this protocol is designed to do. So step one, there's a tea. You see me sipping on it a little bit. It supercharges your natural GLP-1 response, and it's been scientifically shown to increase that response by up to 70%, your own natural response. There's no GLP-1 in it. It's giving you the support and the nutrition to be able to increase your GLP-1 naturally. And guess what? Without food substances, I mean, it is food, but not the kind of food that spikes your insulin. So it's not going to break your fast that we just talked about. It's going to help you further into that fast, help you repairing, helping you stay full even though you're not eating, and you start to feel better. So one of the major pathways that it uses to stimulate GLP-1 naturally is through a compound called chlorogenic acids. It's high in this form of tea, but it's even higher in this particular tea because it's 375 times stronger than any bagged boxed tea that you're going to find out there. We take a lot of care in what we're producing and making sure that, excuse me, you're getting what you need. That's how this tea is able to increase GLP-1 naturally by up to 70%. That means your brain is shut down for hunger cues. That means your gut is shut down for hunger cues. You're not overeating. Your leptin and ghrelin start to work more naturally. Your pancreas is getting a little bit of break. You're getting growth hormone. You're getting ketones out there, and you're starting to lose fat, not muscle, as a result of your weight loss. Remember, hold on to that fact. There's a reason why there's such a thing as Ozempic face and Ozempic butt. Why? Because those people, when you look at the celebrities who've done it and their butt just sags and their face is just sagging because they've lost a whole lot of muscle mass to lose that weight. It wasn't all fat. And now they just have this saggy tissue all over. Is that what you want? Or do you want to lose weight and build strength in your body? Okay. I'm going to encourage you to build strength in your body to lose the weight. So, this concentrated form of yerba mate, again, has 375 times more of those chlorogenic acids. It's not just a little boost, it's a massive amplification of one of the most powerful GLP-1 agonists that your body can have naturally. So that means you get up to 70% more GLP-1 in your body without any of the injections or damaging medications. You get better blood sugar regulation from this tea, helping your body respond more effectively to the food that you eat. Okay. You get appetite to control without slowing digestion unnaturally. You feel full and satisfied without nausea or bloating. So remember medications, nausea, bloating, vomiting, trashy burps, rotting food in your gut. You're not getting any of that with the tea. Okay. You're getting health from the inside out, feeding your gut microbiome, helping your body deal with those blood sugars more naturally. That's not in a way that's causing all the other damage. But you're also getting energy and mental clarity. One of the things that people say with those injections too is they start to feel tired. They just, they have these not they're nauseous, they're burpy, they're, having these gastric blockages, they're just not getting enough nutrition into their system. They're losing weight, but they're also losing energy. This is increasing your energy, giving you more energy than you can imagine. It's, in fact, one of the biggest things that I noticed right away. Within just a few days, I noticed my energy and my mental clarity change drastically from feeling like I was crashing and being laying on the couch every day at 3 p.m. to having energy to make it through the day without all of those crashes, without feeling like my favorite thing I used to say, because I'm big on analogies, you guys, but I couldn't figure out how to make anybody else understand what I was going through. And so I remember telling my family, it felt like if you could imagine sticking a vacuum cleaner on your belly button and just sucking all the energy out of your body. And so you're tired and you're hurting from the inside out. That's actually cells screaming for energy. Nobody, no doctor, no physician, no gym guy, nobody was able to explain why I was feeling this way. I was exhausted, I was tired, I was hurting, and I don't feel that anymore. Within 3 days of starting the system, I noticed a change. And science has shown, there's a new study that said it only takes days for some of these changes to happen for over 70% of people. So if you want something that's going to start to make you be able to lose weight more naturally, get your GLP-1 up so you're not craving the wrong foods all the time, but still give you energy without costing you all the muscle within days, that starts to happen for you. This is probably what you want to take a look at. Okay. This is probably the thing that you've been needing to hear and know, because it does not take all that other sorry, I'm gonna swear again, that other crap that they're trying to push into you. It's just damaging you more, and it frustrates me to no end that that's where we're at. So you can actually feel the difference within days. It's like the fog is lifting, your energy smooths out, nagging cravings are gone, and then there's a second piece. So this tea, I tell people all the time, you don't have to do it the way I do it. I have ADHD, I have autism, I forget to drink my second tea sometimes. So for me, I just mix my 2 teas up in one big stainless steel mug, and I pack that around my house, my work all day long, and I sip on it. So now every time I sip on it, I'm increasing my GLP-1 a little bit. I'm increasing my satiety, meaning I'm not as hungry. I'm helping my ketones because I'm in a fasted state get out. So I'm helping that exchange of cellular turnover and that fat burning to go on while I'm sipping the tea because it doesn't break my fast. A tea in the morning, a tea in the afternoon. I just choose to sip on mine all day. I actually mixed up 3 today, so this is the second half of my 3. Now, but the second part of the system is a pre-meal drink that's high in fibers. Interestingly enough, even the pre-meal drink helps elicit natural GLP-1 by activating something called L cells. So now you're getting a GLP-1 boost even when you're drinking the pre-meal drink. And when I talk to people, I let you know all the time that although the system is 2 tea a day and 1 pre-meal drink with the biggest meal that has carbohydrates in it, I use the pre-meal drink throughout the day. I use it in a fasted state. It doesn't break my fast. It helps produce more ketones. I can explain that if anybody needs. It's helping increase my GLP-1 in a fasted state. It's helping build my gut microbiome so that I'm healthier from the inside out, which means less inflammation, less oxidation, less of all of that stress and crud that's causing you to gain weight, feel sick and tired, and gain even more weight. So both of them help. You don't have to do it the way I do, but that's now that I know, that's how I do it. So, I've already had one of the fiber today. I will have another one later in a little bit. Last night, I went to my daughter-in-law's house, my son and daughter-in-law's, and she's an amazing cook, and it's not all her fault because I wanted something salty last night. We had family game night. I bought a bag of chips, and I should know better. As a result, I was up all night last night because I have no gallbladder, in pain, and so at some point in the night, I'm just like, "Just get up and go take a pre-meal drink." I drank it. It took a little while for it to start activating, but it soothes down the gut. It helps move things along, and it helped me get past that pain from the gastritis that was blowing up last night. Because not only did I have chips, she had a tomatoey pasta with some beef in it, more pasta and carbs than I usually eat, but it is what it is. Um, so the pre-meal drink helps me with a lot of things, but it's helping increase your GLP-1. So both products in the protocol are helping you increase your GLP-1 naturally so that your body can handle the load of everything else that you're putting in it. The fiber also helps reduce a blood sugar spike by up to 40%. And that's huge because this is all about insulin, right? So we want to keep the insulin down. We want to keep the blood sugars low. And not only is the fiber helping that GLP-1 production, but it's helping blunt that blood sugar spike. And I don't have those up, but there are scientific studies that show if you were able to look at the results of glucose monitors when people are drinking the pre-meal drink, their blood sugar levels, yes, they spike a little bit around mealtime, but they're much lower and much shorter blood sugar spikes than the crazy spikes people get when they're not using this pre-meal drink beforehand. Because the truth is, our foods are deficient in fiber, and yet we're eating more carbohydrates than ever. Carbohydrates are regulated by fiber, and yet we're being given more and more carbohydrates and less fiber. And that's why we're getting sick. That's why we're getting sick. So both of the products are very high in vitamins and minerals, naturally occurring in the tea drink and added as metabolic support in the pre-meal drink. So do I take vitamins and minerals? No, I don't, because I get what I need from the system that's helping me regulate the blood sugars and helping me overcome diabetes and hypertension and keep my weight as stable as it is in menopause, post-menopause. Okay, so soluble fibers ferment in your gut triggering the GLP-1 release. The viscous fibers that slow down the glucose absorption, they stabilize your blood sugar. These both are prebiotics that feed the gut microbiome, improving overall digestion and metabolic function. Okay. So what does that mean for you? All that fancy talk, all that schnoz I just talked, what does that mean for you? It means that you're going to stay fuller longer. You're going to have less breakthrough hunger, less need to snack, and that's going to help you out a lot, right? That's going to help. If you're not feeling like you need those sugary snacks and stuff all the time, that will help. You get better blood sugar stability. And as your blood sugar stabilizes, guess what? Your cravings and stuff go down even more. Leptin and ghrelin act better in your body, and it's helping with that. So then you got no more extreme hunger swings when you're just adding in nutrients that support your body, bridging the gap instead of adding in stuff that's forcing your body to do something that you're not allowing it to do by feeding it what it needs. So think about this is maybe a bad analogy, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you have a gas vehicle or say you have a diesel vehicle, guys who have trucks, you got a diesel truck and your wife takes the truck to the gas station. And instead of putting diesel in, she puts gas in. You're going to start to break down, right? Your truck's going to start to break down. It's kind of what's happening when we're doing all of these things that are foreign to the body. Instead of giving it the right fuel, we're giving it the wrong fuel. And the danger is over time, your body will start to break down. And that's not even giving you fuel with those drugs. It's just forcing your body to do different things. Somebody's got an alarm going on. Okay, so instead of forcing your body to do what it's not meant to do, you want to support your body to do what it is meant to do. Now, what your day looks like with the protocol, instead of an injection that you do once a week and then you're nauseous and burpy and sick and I'm tired all the time, you're just having a tea. The tea wakes you up in the morning. It gives you energy. If you drink it warm, guess what? It's going to help you move stuff along from your intestines. Good thing for most of us. It's going to help you increase growth hormone, which you need to repair your body and your systems. It's going to help you produce ketones, which are the little guys who are saying, hey, burn fat. We want fuel. Let's get some fat burnt up so that the brain and the body can have the fuel that it needs. We don't need to live on sugar, carby fuel all the time. Okay. It's okay to do it sometimes, but our metabolism is meant to switch from sugar to fat. And in today's world, we're living on sugar and we're not paying attention to the fat. And that's a problem for most of us. Okay, so you guys, if you want the system, there is, let me pull this up here real quick again. Sorry, guys, let me get this up. And let's get all the way to the end of this. I'm just going to toggle through here. If you guys have questions, please let me know. But this is simple, and you guys, these are just some studies on the GLP-1 effects of the Unamate, the tea. It not only gives you energy, but it's a relaxed energy. You have a ton of vitamins and minerals in it. But let's take a look at how to order it. If you guys are interested, if you just want to talk to me and be like, is this right for me? I'm on medications. I don't know. Oops, by the way, that's me. Before and after I started doing the system. Now, before, I tried everything. I did keto, I did veganism, and I just felt like I couldn't lose weight. My metabolism was so jacked up from all the previous advice from everybody about eating every 2 hours and cutting back calories. My metabolism was screwed in the first picture. And it wasn't until I started giving my body nutrients. And guess what? I didn't have to cut a ton of calories. I didn't have to do any crazy stuff. I ate food I loved, and I was able to lose over 55 pounds and maintain that post-menopause. The little picture in the middle is because at one point when I started this, I actually had a walker, a cane, and disability plates on my car. I couldn't walk. I didn't want to go to the grocery store because it was so painful. I couldn't walk up and down stairs. It wasn't just the weight, it was my joints were failing. My body was failing because of insulin resistance. This system is what is addressing that for many, many people. So these are just some other people who have written me back and said, thank you for, like, I don't have hunger anymore. I didn't believe this was going to work. What is this stuff? Because I don't have hunger this afternoon. I'm able to lose weight. This is way easier than I thought it was going to be. I can intermittent fast now. I don't have to worry about the sugars. I don't have to worry about the weight. I don't have to. All of these messages I get from people who are actually getting better on the system. And it's easy and you are worth it, but this is where you're going to find it. So if you're over on my Facebook page, this is the Facebook page. You'll see Brilliant Health with Misha. Right down at the bottom right hand side, you'll see the link where you can get to my landing page to order or find out more. And on YouTube and Facebook, I do have the QR code. So if you're watching on a computer, on a laptop, you can just snap that QR code and move on. But on YouTube, it's going to look like this. So you're going to have the same banner up at the top, same QR code, but right under my name, right next to my picture is where you'll find the link over on YouTube. Okay. And I'll drop it in the chat on YouTube. But then on TikTok, those of you guys who are watching me on TikTok, if you just go to my profile, I always talk about how there is a link in the profile under the red light symbols. That red line is where you're going to find that link to be able to check out the products, talk to me, whatever you need. You guys, I was on the phone at 11 o'clock last night helping somebody get started on the system and just helping answer all of her questions. It's real. I'm here. I help you. And I just want you to start feeling better. Okay, let's move this. All right. So you guys, oh, I know what I was going to do. I wanted to show you just not my story. Let me bring this back up because I want to show you a few other people. I keep forgetting to do this. Okay, so that was me. We talked about me, right? So this is some of the stuff I was suffering with. My A1C was 7.4, yada, yada. But I have lost 55 pounds. My hypertension is gone. My hyperglycemia, my hyper insulinemia, my hyper cholesterol is all gone. My sleep apnea is better. My heart nerve, my chronic fatigue, my brain pain, arthritis, all of that's gone. But it's not just me because there's people like Alexis who was not diabetic but had a family history of it. Went from a size 14. She's actually now a size 6. And all she's done is the system in the last 3 years, and that's what helped her. Then there's this lovely friend of mine she's also in menopause. She's now lost over 50 pounds. But she had diverticulitis. She had kidney issues. By the way, kidney issues are so highly linked to insulin resistance. You guys, kidney, heart, liver, any combination of those, please take a look at your insulin resistance. And then you start adding weight on. But this is her. So she definitely had insulin resistance belly, gone. She's smaller than that now. It's helped with her depression and anxiety because insulin resistance happens in the brain at the same time it happens in your body. But it's not just for people who are overweight. Christy is actually a coach, a fitness coach, and she coaches IFBB pro bodybuilders. She's a bodybuilder herself. If you see in the first picture, she looks a little bloated. Her face is a little bloated. Her tummy's a little bloated. Same time, same weight in her training and prep. But when she started the system, this picture on the right is what she looks like now. Nobody knew at the time that she was suffering with diabetes. Nobody knew that her health was suffering. Did she have to be obese to need to have the system to help her get her health back? No, she did not. And this works for children. It works for adults. It works all across the board. Then there's Jason. His A1C is now down below 6. He started out at 13.3. His doctor wanted to put him on the medications. His doctor wanted to give him gastric band surgery. His doctor wanted to take all these extreme measures, and he just said no. Jason was on the live just a little bit ago. He'll tell you this has changed his life. He has now lost over 200 pounds on this system. His hypertension is gone. His hyperlipidemia is under control. His sleep apnea is gone. His chronic fatigue, his anxiety and depression are all much better. Not only did he lose weight, but this is what I'm talking about. Those injections are not giving you this kind of result. They're not helping you with all of these other things. They may get your A1C down. They may inadvertently bring your blood pressure down, and they'll help you lose some weight, but at what cost? And are you getting more energy? Are you getting more health from those? No, you're not. This does work. So then there's Cindy, who has lost over 100, I think she's at 150 pounds now, got her life back. Vibrant, vibrant woman. But when you look at her, I'm doing a series on fat, so look for those videos. I'm sorry I haven't gotten them out yet, but she only had a 5.9 A1C. So she was just pre-diabetic, just barely, but her husband was diabetic. But she was packing a ton of weight. Her husband had the insulin resistance belly where his belly was poking out. They both now have reversed all of those symptoms and regained their health. And she got him on it because she was like, dude, you got to be around long enough to be around with me. You don't get to give up that quick. And it's reversed his type 2 diabetes. And they go out to eat all the time. They just use the system to support them in the lifestyle they love. Now, then there's Karen. What I want you to notice, and I'll get into this in my series on fat cells. When we look at Karen, her A1C was higher. Remember, Cindy's, who was really obese, was only at 5.9. Karen's was at 11.5, and she did not pack on near as much weight. We all have a different amount of fat cells, and our fat cells respond differently. So the size of a person does not tell you how diabetic they are. Be careful of that. A person can be a little bit obese and be healthier than a person who's thin and extremely insulin resistant. Our fat cells make a difference. But Karen was able to lose all of this weight, get her A1C now down into normal range, reverse her sleep apnea, her heartburn, chronic fatigue, her brain fog, all of that by this simple system: a tea in the morning, a tea in the afternoon, and a pre-meal drink before she eats. Then we look at somebody like my girl Steffi. None of us saw her as obese or overweight in the beginning. None of us knew that she was struggling with her size or her self-esteem, but she went from a size 14 down to a size 8. She lost her belly fat. She has 4-pack abs. She would not have worn a 2-piece bathing suit before. She didn't even start the system because she wanted to lose weight. She saw how much it did for my mental health, and she started it because she knew me personally and was like, wow, if this made this much change in you, I got to try this. 4 years later, Steffi's still doing it because it's helped her health overall. And then there's Dia, who is a cancer survivor, struggled. Her whole family, her husband, her oldest daughter, and her oldest son are all using the system. The son is a type 1 diabetic, and he's able to do it as a type 1, reduce the load of long-acting insulin, has almost entirely gotten rid of the quick-acting insulin because the system does the job for him. And it's just, again, when I talked to this little man and said, how hard was it? As a 13-year-old, he's like, it's the easiest thing I've ever done. It's so easy. And he's been able to manage his insulin as a type 1 youth and get better. And he also lost over 30 pounds. That's just a picture of inflammation in my feet, you guys. Any questions, you guys? This is so easy.